So we're here in Cuenca, Ecuador, with April and John, or Yanis, from ancient-origins.net. I'm also here with Jim Vieira, and we're researching Father Crespi and his treasure. Behind me you can see the statue of Father Crespi, who was a monk who was sent over by the Vatican to kind of bring Christianity to the local tribes here. But what happened? He apparently got gifted hundreds, if not thousands, of artifacts of gold, copper, and this so-called metal library, as well as all these Assyrian, Babylonian, and Sumerian pieces. His museum got burnt down. There's nothing left. But we're here, and we're just checking out. We may be able to see some of these artifacts today. So Jim's been researching this because they may have come from Teo's Cave, which is not too far from here. It's a few hours away. So what's your take on it, Jim?
Well, I talked to Eileen Hall, the daughter of Stanley Hall, who led an expedition in 1976 to the Teo's Cave system. And Neil Armstrong, the astronaut, was involved, in hundreds of explorers. I believe they only found some pottery and other artifacts and a skeleton from 1500 BC. But the cave system is enormous. And if you watch Stanley Hall's video, when he meets with Father Crespi, there was some amazing looking Babylonian, Sumerian artifacts and these sheets of metal, and it's a real question, are they legitimate or not? And we're trying to see if we could find any of the remnants of his collection. It's a really intriguing story. Well, Crespi himself didn't explore the caves.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No.
According to the story, he was doing a lot of help to the indigenous people, orphans of the indigenous, and so they supposedly gifted him these artifacts, but whether that's the reality of the situation or not is another question.
I find it odd that there's not a lot left, even if they were hoaxed, you know, like why did they all seem to disappear?
It was
You heard about the fire, the museum fire. Yeah, so most of the artifacts were held in the museum, and then it mysteriously went up in flames, and so a lot of it was destroyed, but then apparently the rest of it either went to the central bank, which one account is saying the whatever survived went to the central bank, but you know, we're hoping some of them might be here in the monastery that he started. So.
Yeah, I talked to Eileen, Stan Hall's daughter, and she had talked about this place, and there theoretically being some artifacts left. And
yeah, it must be.
So you've made friends with the Schwab people, you've been into the cave system. Do you think that it's another system that might be the one that's where these artifacts came from? Do you think it's Tao's, like the further reaches of, because it's such a massive system?
Definitely.
You think that might be the case?
Yeah, I mean, if the Schwab people said that they were retrieving gold from the caves, it means that there must be somewhere else too, not only these specific caves that they gave gold to.
I think the situation of the fire is really interesting as well, because obviously the artifacts had a lot of value, you know, being made of gold. So for them to have been destroyed, if it was intentional, means there was something about these artifacts that somebody didn't like. Perhaps they revealed information about an older civilization that conflicted with the conventional understanding of things. Who knows, maybe it was accidental, but it is quite mysterious that this museum suddenly went up in flames and everything was lost, or a lot was lost.
That's a pretty consistent theme. when something is controversial, man, the lab gets lit up pretty quickly.
Accidents only happen to controversial artifacts.
But what about the ones that were said to be found by Stan Hall and his group, and then they got helicoptered out? You were telling us about that.
No, the Schwab people said that.
But were they the artifacts or just gold?
They didn't know, but the U.S. mission, the U.S. and British, I think it was, that they, with Armstrong, that they did the first research in the caves. The Schwab people said that they came out with tons, helicopters were retrieving things from the caves. Now, what they were? Because according to them, they didn't find anything important.
I was going to say, that's what Stan, I talked to Eileen, his daughter. He seems like a stand-up guy, and she's really, you know, cast in the same mold. And I don't think that Stanley Hall would have been part of anything kind of untoward.
No.
Something else might have happened, but I don't think Stan Hall would ever be involved in something like that. But it is such a fascinating story, really is.
So we're just outside the front of Father Crespi's church, and behind me here are what look like some of the metal plates that were actually found or given to Father Crespi. He was known to have this huge selection of these very large, like a metal library, or it was called, even from Atlantis, some people says. But these look exactly like them. So perhaps they built them into the church, or like and recarved them. And like you can see it here, it's completely strange. But we're going to go inside the church now and see if we can get access in the basement to some of the actual artifacts that Father Crespi had in his collection. So we've made our way into the actual building. This is like the grounds of where the monastery was. There's also a school here, a medical hospital. This is all the stuff that Crespi founded himself. He was quite a missionary, did some good work apparently. So we're going to just see what we can find here. Who knows, may find nothing, but it's worth trying.
Está cerrado porque no sé qué, es el armonio que tocaba, que era de la iglesia que él tocaba, pero que está viejo, está desartalado. No hay más nada.
So he's saying that
The bank has taken all that.
central bank has, and the only thing that there is left here is armonio.
Armonio, sí.
Armonio.
Is Father Crespi right here.
So in the university in Cuenca, just behind me here are some of the artifacts that Father Crespi collected. These were protected, and so the bank was not allowed to take them. But we're in contact with the director of the bank, because that's where we believe most of the Crespi artifacts are, which we're going to take a look at. But you can just see some examples here that are still here at the university.
He says the artifacts that they say they're from Mesopotamia or Egypt. He says that, well, he believes that people brought fake artifacts to show Father Crespi, and to make him believe that those were genuine Ecuadorian artifacts of extraterrestrials. But he says no, that's not true.
And what was Crespi's opinion on that?
Crespi denied all those things.
Denied?
He knew they were fake.
Okay.
So
All
he
of
said,
it?
yeah, the things that are with Mesopotamian signs and all that.
Yeah.
But he says the main goal, Father Crespi's main idea was just focus on the poor people, just helping the poor people out. Okay.
Did he believe that any of the artifacts, like the genuine artifacts, came from the Taos Caves, or is that like a made-up story by Von Daniken?
Let me answer.
El padre Crespi, como decía el padre rector, el padre recogía cosas.
He says all the artifacts found were collected by Father Crespi, and some people came to him and gave him artifacts. And this led to some people taking advantage of Father Crespi and bringing him fake artifacts that weren't even ancient. They were just made up artifacts, and he would buy them, but just to help them out. He knew they were fake, but he would just take them.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, the story seems to have been spun in a way where Carlos Crespi was perceived as believing that a lot of these artifacts that were bizarre were legitimate and from somewhere else, or a lost library, and kind of try to untangle that story to see if there's any legitimacy to it. Our friend here from the university doesn't think there's any validity to the story. Hopefully we'll get to look at some of the artifacts at the bank, the central bank. But I'm dubious right now. I'd have to see something that's pretty, not so, how do I express it? Something that's legitimate and from another place, from another country with a different language. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see.
So we're now outside the Museum of Pumapungu. And next door is the Central Bank of Cuenca. This is where a lot of Father Crespi's artifacts are kept. So we're going to go and take a look in there and hopefully get access to the private collection of the bank. It should include some of these incredible artifacts. So we're in the basement of the museum here in Cuenca, and all this art you can see behind me, all this religious art and these pieces are all from Father Crespi, 60% at least, possibly 90%. So these aren't the pieces we're looking for, but this is just the start of our little exploration here. Oh, elongated skulls. Wow.
Hola. Bueno, ¿cómo está?
Sorts of elongated skulls are on display here. Very interesting.
El tanto por ciento, no sabría decirlo. Las piezas fueron adquiridas, en su total hablan que de 5.000.
We're inside the Ecuador Banco Museum, and there's an elongated skull here. Now, they had no idea where it came from, what era it was from, any of its location or anything, but they're on display here. And so we're going to go now into the archive room, and hopefully we'll see some very, very interesting pieces.
Yes, the mass older and the mass young.
Okay.
It's the colonial time
Okay.
in this place. Yeah. It's close. I have this part. All the
Oh my
artifacts
God.
is about excavation in this place, in this site archaeological
okay.
with Pumapungo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All.
This as well?
No, this song is the Crespi collections.
Oh.
Yes. This.
from Father
this-
Crespi.
Yeah.
It's under Father Crespi, though.
Sí.
Oh my God, look at that.
Sí, but
And this as well?
Sí.
Crispy?
Yes, these two.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here we have the double spirals, which is what you get all over the world. So you can see this stone just behind me here, and the skull at the end of the skeleton. Well, this stone with all these spirals on is from the Crespi collection. But this is incredible because it's got spiral carvings on, similar to what we find in Peru and Bolivia, Tiwanaku, but also Malta, Britain, New Zealand, everywhere. So the fact is we've got a piece here from the Crespi collection, which has got like a megalith with petroglyphs, which is just incredible. It's got a powerful jaw, this one. We have this sort of tiling as well.
This is interesting.
Yeah, the swirl.
So this skull was actually found at Pumapungu itself, one of the first ones here, with clear signs of major cranial deformation. So this is quite unique. This isn't on display in the main museum, this is in the basement. So 60% of these pieces, remember, are from Father Crespi's collection. Many of them are from other sites, such as Pumapungu and others around the country. It looks very much like an archaic skull. It does not look like a modern type
Ahí
skull.
están en la parte alta, porque todavía hay que inventariarles y todo.
Lo que trajimos.
Cómo restaurarlas, porque debido a la cantidad de posiblemente este es para fermentar chicha y no va a ser muy grato. Entonces por eso que las civilizaciones tratan de preservar la mayor cantidad de tiempo de sus vasijas que han sido heredadas, ¿no?
Yeah,
Chicha.
It gets fermented better on these jars. So they try to preserve them, and this is why they use animal skin as leather to keep them in place when they break.
This part is montañas. Sí.
So these chairs are mainly for people of high power, and when they gather around, you know, all the high-powered people, but the one that was on top of everybody else would sit on these chairs.
And what kind of time era are these from?
¿De qué temporada serían estos? ¿De qué año?
Este es posiblemente periodo de integración, más o menos. Está entre el 1000, 1200, 1400. O sea, ha habido más tempranos, pero estimo que es por esos periodos. Son las famosas sillas manteñas, ¿no?
1200s.
1200 AD.
Various artifacts here. 60% of this collection is from Father Crespi. Haven't seen any of the metal library of Atlantis just yet, but we will soon. These look like tools for cranial deformation, like we see in Peru and Bolivia. Some more artifacts here.
This is from Pumapunku.
So this is from Pumapunku here. Some of the stonework. These look like nicely cut pieces, some of these. Then we have this, one of the idols. Looks like a goddess figurine. So these look like dowsing pendulums. Okay.
Okay.
See, these are, they have elongation. These representations of them. This has some strange carvings on it. Okay, just behind me here, this is the sign. UFO, aliens, this must be the right collection.
Studied a lot about this. She even wrote her thesis for the university about this.
For more of 5 years, I studied about the Tanza, so all about the books or everything. And I made 2 years of workshop in the Shuar and all the places in the north about the Tanzas too.
So we've seen some artifacts from the Crespi collection, the stonework and the elongated skulls. And although the people here think all the metal artifacts are fake, we're going to take a look at some. Okay, so we've just been escorted out of the museum, and now we're being led to another building in the whole precinct of Pumapunku, the bank and the museums here. And this is where the supposed artifacts made of metal from Crespi's collection are kept. Generally believed to be fakes by all the archaeologists. They weren't really thought of as anything important or valuable. But as an investigator, I want to check this out, just see it for myself. I'll just get some photos, analyze it, look at the symbols, see what we come up with. Oh my god. Here we have the metal pieces of Crespi's collection. Oh my god.
Yeah, they do look fake.
So behind me here you can see many of the pieces of metal from Father Crespi's collection. Thought to be fake by many, but we've actually made it. We've actually found the lost metal library of Father Crespi. Some people say it's the lost metal library of Atlantis. So I'm going to film as much of this as possible so you can see what was in his collection when it was on display 30 or 40 years ago. See the headpiece of this kind of sword here. Where's the big guitar? Where's the crown? Where's the big metal crown?
Right there.
No, it's not metal.
son restos del museo. O sea, estaban viendo si vale algunas cosas. Los huesos.
O sea, ahorita no están valorizados.
No, este... sí, seguramente.
Pero bueno,
So the locals brought. Yeah, there's a lot of
the metal ones.
the metal ones are fake. They look like somebody's got us.
Like these or the ones in the pictures? Brown's looking.
So you can see many of the metal pieces here are just piled into a corner. They're not organised, they're just assumed to be fake, but these could be priceless artefacts. So we're going to get as much of this as we can on film just to see if we can archive this effectively, but so let's take a look.
Here that we remove them like this. Take this process, take this process.
So many. This is crazy. This is crazy. We just
You see, this happens when you work with encyclopedias.
Yes.
Sell these images.
Hmm?
You sell the images.
Go on, show me them, Jim. See more, get more, just look through them. Hold them up to the camera. So.
Yeah, it looks like somebody owned a junkyard.
So, is this the Lost Metal Library of Atlantis?
There you go. This huge overlord right there, Satan. Huge master. It's a 1943 Chevy license plate.
Okay, cut out the volume of this part.
You get it?
Yeah, I've got it all, yeah.
Okay.
We have these.
Tiene más gente que Cuenca. Sí, me gustaba esa. Ya hacía la música. Sí, yo la música. ¿Sabe quién?
Get it? This one right here is the only one that's catching my eye so far. It's pretty cool. Although that's nice.
Just describe it. The one you like.
It's heavy. It's made of a different material. I was saying if you're, you know, most of these are like some made of cheap tin or something like that. And if you're gonna make artifacts to get a payday, you're just gonna grind them out with some junkyard metal. There's nothing here is gold.
So here's just one example of one of the artifacts here in the Crespi collection. You can see, I'll just move it up and down, you can see the way it's carved. You can see there's all the symbolism on it. A lot of the symbolism does look like it's, you know, classical Native American Ecuadorian symbolism here. So it's very intriguing that if these are fakes, why make so many? Why make so much of it? Is there anything here that's actually genuine? It's really hard to tell, but we're just going to show you as much of it as we can, because this could be important. I'm not saying it is, it could be. Is that the right way around?
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a cool one. Take your finger off the top there. Okay, that's weird. I want to go.
No, you see, well, it was spun like it was authentic metal objects and stuff. Yeah. But it's really how you do your due diligence and all this stuff.
So we did it. We saw the metal artifacts from Father Crespi's collection. Hundreds of pieces of worked tin, bronze and other metals. Whether they're fake, we just don't know. Probably some are, but some of those look like authentic Native American Shuar peoples, probably artifacts. So there's something about this place. There's a little bit of magic here. This hasn't been resolved once and for all, but at least we've seen it for ourselves.